Alright, so we want to find an algebraic proof that this section equals 12. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to take the total length, which in this case is x plus 12, and what we want to take away from this total, we want to take away this part, which is 1/2 x. So we take away 1/2 x. And we want to take this part, which is also 1/2 x. When you do this, you combine these two, which gives you x plus 12 minus x. This x and this x cancels, leaving you with 12. Number 2 is wants an equation for the frame of the picture. So the frame of the picture, as you can tell, is right here. So you want to have an equation for the area for this guy right here. So the strategy we're going to do here is we're going to have the area for the total rectangular picture with the frame, and we're going to take away the picture. When you take away the picture, you're left with the frame. So, the length for the frame, for the entire thing, is x plus 12. So we put x plus 12. The width for the entire thing is 3x plus 6. So we put 3x plus 6. That will be for the entire thing. Now, in order to be left with only the frame, we want to take away the picture. So in order to take away the picture, we need to know what this is, and we need to know what this is. This we already talked about in number 1. It is 12. So we have 12, and we want to multiply by whatever this guy is. This guy is pretty much the entire length or width, or you can call it height, and we want to take away this piece, the frame piece, and we're going to take away this frame piece. So in other words, we would have 3x plus 6, and we want to take away this piece, which is 1/2 x, and we want to take away this piece, which is 1/2 x. When you do that, you're left with the length or width or height, whatever you call this, of the picture, which in this case will be 3x plus 6 minus x, which is 2x plus 6. So you have 2x plus 6. Alright, so you may want to pause the video and try to pull this out yourself, and I'm going to do it right now as well. When we follow this, we have x times 3x. That will give me 3x squared. I have x times 6, which gives me 6x. We have 12 times 3x, which is 36x. And then we have 12 times 6, which is 72. That's what this gives you. Over here, we have 12 times 2x, which is negative 24x. And we have negative 12 times 6, which is negative 72. So when you subtract this piece, the entire area, by just the picture area, you end up with just the frame. So the area of the frame will equal 3x squared, which is this guy, plus 6x. When you subtract these two, you end up with 12x. And these just cancel out. You add these two terms, you get 3x squared plus 18x. That's your area for your frame. And we're going to call it the original area of the frame. The reason why we're going to call it the original area of the frame is because we are going to be asked to find a new area. Alright, number 3 asks you to find a new area of a frame, which in this case is 3 times larger. So if the new enlargement triples, the area, which the enlargement is this piece right here and this piece right here. So if these new additions triple the area, they want a expression for r in terms of x. So here's what you're going to do. You first understand that you have the original area and you know that it was tripled. So what I can do is I can just copy down 3 times what we did earlier, which was 3x squared plus 18x. And that will actually represent 3 times the area that they're talking about. However, they want you to use the new variable r. So in order to do this, you will repeat this process, except instead of using x plus 12, you want to use x plus 12 plus r, or in other words, x plus 12 plus 2r. That will be your new length, and you have the same width, and you would again take out the picture area. So our new length was x plus 12 plus 2r, and we're going to multiply this by the width of the figure, which we talked about was 3x plus 6. And we're going to take away the picture portion. Now, if you go back to what we did earlier, you remember that it was 12 times 2x plus 6. So it would be 12 times 2x plus 6. The picture didn't change. The only thing we made larger was the frame. So we follow these out. So we have x times 3x, which gives you 3x squared. We have x times 6, which gives us 6x. We have 12 times 3x, which gives us 36x. We have 12 times 6, which is 72. We have 2r times 3x, which is 6rx. We have 2r times 6, which gives us 12r. That's this part alone. We want to subtract from here. We want to subtract 24x, because negative 12 times 2x is 24x, and we want to subtract 72, because 12 times 6 is 72. Negative 12 times 6 is negative 72. So you combine like terms. Let me use a better pen. Alright, so this guy remains alone. There's only one x squared, so it's 3x squared. When it comes to the x's, we have 6x, 36x, and we have negative 24x. When you combine all of those, you should end up with 18x. So that takes care of the x's. The numbers, the 72 cancels out the negative 72, and leaving us with these two terms right here, which is 6rx plus 12r. So now we have this piece on the left-hand side, took a little bit of work. We had this originally, which is equivalent, because that's 3 times the original area. This also represents 3 times the original area. So if I was to bring this down, and if I was to distribute, I should end up with 9x squared plus 54x. Now here's the deal. Number 3 was asking you to isolate r. In order to isolate r, you want to remove all of the other non-r terms. So we want to remove the 3x squared. We want to remove the 18x on both sides. So subtract 3x squared on both sides, subtract 18x on both sides. You end up with 6x squared plus 36 plus 36x equals 6r x plus 12r. So all I want you to do is factor out r. So when you factor out r, you're left with 6x plus 12. Because when you do that, you can now divide both sides by this piece, which gets you r by itself. So we have 6x squared plus 36x equal r times 6x plus 12. Dividing both sides by 6x plus 12, 6x plus 12 allows you to get r by itself. We have r equaling 6x squared plus 36x divided by 6x plus 12. What you can do from here, if you want, you can factor out a 6 and simplify it a little bit. So if I was to factor out a 6, I would end up with 6 times x squared plus 6 over 6 times x plus 2. The 6's would cancel, and you would have your new expression, which is r equals x squared plus 6 over x plus 2. That is your answer for number 3. Lastly, number 4. Number 4 is saying that if the original area of the frame was 48 square inches, find the value for r. Well, our original area for our frame is right here. Our original area was 3x squared plus 18x, and that's saying if that equals 48, so let's go ahead and write it. If that equals 48, so 48 equals 3x squared plus 18x. So if this equals 48, if our original area equals 48, all you have to do is solve for x and then plug x into right here. So let's do this. This is a quadratic. The only way you can solve a quadratic if you ended up getting one side equaling 0. So if you're going to subtract 48 on both sides, we end up with 0 equals 3x squared plus 18x minus 48. There's a greatest common factor of 3. You're going to factor out a 3, so that gives us x squared plus 6x minus 16. So at this point, you want to see if it's factorable. You want to know if there are two numbers that multiply to give us 16, but when you add them, negative 16, but when you add them, you get 6. So the two numbers that I can think of is 8 and 2. And in order for them to add up to equal 6, 2 would have to be negative. They multiply to give us negative 16, they add up to give us 6. So these are the two we're going to go with. So 0 equals 3 times x plus 8, x minus 2, giving us x equaling negative 8 and x equaling positive 2. So we have two solutions. X can by no means equal negative 8, because if you go back to the picture, remember that we had a dimension that was 1/2 x, and if we allowed x to equal negative 8, that would imply that that equaled negative 4, and you cannot have a dimension be negative. So the negative 8, we're going to throw that out. So therefore, x has to equal 2. So what does r equal? We're going to go back right there. R equals x squared plus 6 over x plus 2. So r equals 2 squared plus 6 over 2 plus 4, which gives us 4 plus 6 over 6, which is 10 over 6, which equals 1 2/3. And that, I believe, is supposed to be in inches. So 1 2/3 inches. Alrighty, that is it. If I made any mistakes, leave it in the comment section. Have a good day.